rebuilding. A catastrophic failure, a new start. Physically, mentally, our careers, our businesses. Step back, first step, next step. The driver in me just wants to get it done tomorrow. We'll do this, do that, let's move this, where are we at with this? If you build some confidence, build some self-esteem, start to feel better about yourself. The Silverback Blueprint Podcast, a show for men over 40 who focus on getting stronger, staying motivated, building discipline, creating a community, and becoming truly happy. Hey guys, and welcome to episode 166 of the Silverback Blueprint Podcast. The first 30 days of my bodybuilding. So like I talked a couple episodes ago, I was making a switch for 2019 to go from 3 years of powerlifting and eating whatever I wanted to changing things up, new goal, bodybuilding, streamlining, dropping 100 pounds. And for a variety of reasons. Part of it is after 3 years of heavy benching and competing, my body was getting a little beat up. My left shoulder's a little dirty, but nothing too serious. But it was just more mental as far as, it was starting to wear on me a bit overall. Don't get me wrong, I loved it. I had that 600-pound bench goal, and I came close with, just missing a couple 573s. So that's probably what made me hang on to that push probably 6 months longer than I really wanted to. I was just really trying to get there. But I came to a point where I realized I'd peaked as far as I can overall in the last couple of years of training, and I'd have to take a step back anyway. So rather than try to beat that horse to death or risk a further, tweak or a big injury, sometimes the 50-year-old comes out and pushes the 18-year-old away and says, hey, listen, time to make that switch. But one of the biggest things is that I was just losing the yearning and the urge and the drive to go in there and bench heavy all the time. And once that starts to happen, you have to look at what's going on. So I think I really run my course over the 2.5, 3 years. I set some personal records benching heavier than I'd ever benched before. I got excited about that 600. I will come back to bench. I will go after that 600. That doesn't, I'm not concerned about that, but it's time for a change. And I think that's one of the things, the big lesson for me is that every once in a while, we know deep down when it's time for a change, but we just hang on a little too long. Devil we know, we're comfortable, not ready to make that change. We're afraid of what that change is. We're afraid of the work that may involve. There's a variety of reasons overall. But at the end of the day, when you know it's time to make that change, and in any aspect of your life, when that gut tells you, you got to listen to that, right? And then you got to sit there and say, what is it going to look like? Let's put a plan together and let's start doing it. So I wanted to go all the way through December and then hit bodybuilding like literally December 1st, and get that going. But the other thing I have to admit is that the more I talked about the bodybuilding, the more excited I got about it. Just the change, and the physical change I was going to go through, but just the change in training, just the change in the feel of the workouts and stuff, right? We're still training heavy, don't get me wrong, but we're going for the pump. We're getting a lot of blood flow, right? We're getting lots of reps in. We're doing cardio, and really back to like the 80s style of bodybuilding, the Dorian Yates, the 80s, 90s and stuff, right? So that's cool, right? And he's one of my, I looked up to him. I respected him as a bodybuilder phenomenally. I still do. So it's really cool to be fired up. My training partner, Steph, he's all in on it as well. And especially in bodybuilding and powerlifting, you got to have a couple good training partners because that makes a big difference. But just being able to be excited. And to me, that's the value. Pumped to do the workouts. Christ, I've been doing, we're 3 or 4 weeks in now, and I've been doing these full leg workouts. And I have to admit, when we did our first one, I was a little intimidated because I had not done a full leg workout, I shit you not, in over 5 years. I'd squat once in a while, I deadlift on a regular basis, but I mean a full leg workout, leg press, hack squat, leg extension, leg curl, those things. Over 5-6 years, easily. So I remember, I was nervous about it because I wasn't worried about the strength. I didn't care what was on the bar. That's not the purpose of it. I mean, when we do the bodybuilding, I was more like, how devastated is my body going to be after doing this? And the hard work of that workout, right? But again, exciting and challenging at the same time. So I couldn't wait to start till January 1st. So we got into it probably third week of December. we just started making the switch overall. I was supposed to do my last competition December 15th in Lake George, New York, but having been really sick in November and stuff, I just wasn't feeling it. My bench was easily 75 plus pounds off. I went down to New York anyway to support the team that was going down. I weighed in the night before just in case I decided to do it, and I weighed in at 392 pounds. Some of the heaviest I've been in a long time. I'm holding a lot of muscle, but holding a lot of fat, holding a lot of water, eating up for meat and stuff. And, starting to feel that weight on the body as well. Just starting to feel getting up in the morning heavy overall. So, and that was in the back of my mind as well, too, knowing that I was making the switch over to the bodybuilding and going back to feeling lighter and tighter and more mobile and stuff was something I was looking for. It was going to be refreshing. So that was the December 15th. I ended up not competing. Great meet, had a lot of fun, met a lot of great people. The team did really well. But, that was the weekend. I looked at Steph and I said, Monday we start back into the bodybuilding and stuff. So that's what we did. So at the time of this podcast is coming out, Luke said, January 31st. We're recording it January 8th. I weighed in January 6th, 365 pounds. So in a little over 3 weeks, I've dropped 27 pounds, and I can feel it already. But it's been, I don't want to say easy, but it hasn't been as difficult as a lot of people think it would be. I mean, it's the fundamentals, right? Going back to eating clean, high protein, medium carbs, lots of vegetables and stuff, all whole foods, no processed foods, a little bit of intermittent fasting, IF, meaning that I typically won't have my first meal till about noon or 1 o'clock, and that's more just because of my schedule and what's going on. But just doing that, and then the routines. So, hitting the gym, doing the bodybuilding routines. Our workouts are about 30, 35 minutes long. We're hitting the weights 3 times a week, but good intensity, right? In fact, we're following the old blood and guts method of training from Dorian Yates, and that was basically you walk up to an exercise and you do 1 to 2 sets, sort of a warm-up, 12 to 15 reps of a good weight, and then you do a third all-out set. And that all-out set, you add more weight, and then you're going through the limit, you're going to your max rep potential, and then you're forcing a couple extra reps, a couple of negatives in there, just pushing beyond what the muscle tissue can do on its own. And then boom, you move on to the next exercise. So short, intense. So again, the cardio is coming up, the high intensity factor is coming up, which is going to stimulate more body fat, but also being older, getting in those workouts and then getting out really makes a big difference for recovery. And then on the off days, 20, 25 minutes of a stationary bike, right? Not killing myself, steady state. Once it gets nicer outside, I'm going to go back to walking outside. Just doing low intensity exercise to keep the blood flow going, which is going to help you keep healing, bring nutrients to the damaged area of the body, take out waste material and toxins out of the body overall, and just help your body heal. Get rid of the stiffness and the soreness so that you can keep coming back. And you know what? It's cool. The first week, it was pretty beat up, and we were smart about it too. It was the first week of doing it, so it wasn't about let's put 8 plates aside or 12 plates aside on the leg press. It's like, hey, let's start with this. Let's build into it. Week 1, we're going to be sore. Let's just get through that, and then do week 2 and week 3, right? And that's where expertise and some experience comes into play and stuff. Because I think the mistake a lot of people make is they get excited, then they fucking jump in and they go all in. But the problem is when you go all in right out of the gate like that, you're going to be a lot more sore than you need to be. You're going to be a lot more stiff and banged up. That's even beneficial for you. And then what happens is if you're so mangled, you have trouble walking up the stairs or sitting down to take a shit on the toilet, right? Is that motivating? Are you going to want to fucking do that to yourself tomorrow and the day after and the day after? Not really, right? So by easing into it, what happened is we actually a lot of times in the first week or so kind of left the gym, with more left in the tank and kind of wanting more, but that meant we were a little more pumped about getting back in on the next available workout. So it's been really sharp. And if you look at my Instagram under Silverback Blueprint, I'm posting a bunch of photos, sort of like the action shots of the workouts and stuff, just to show you guys what we're doing. Again, for me, it's an accountability platform. And like I said, 3 weeks, 27 pounds, almost 30 pounds. I'll take that. Sure, there's a lot of it is just clearing out some water and some, for all, lack of a better word, some crap out of the system. But when I did my weigh-in on Sunday, I knew I was going to have a good weigh-in because I could feel it. And at 365, I was pumped about that. But I got to tell you, when I jumped on the scale, I felt like I was 330. I just felt that tightness. A lot of the bloating has been gone and stuff. So it's really sharp, and it's visible too. You can see there's a lot less just overall bloating. So it looks like I've lost a lot of weight. Now, the other thing I've done, which was quite dramatic over the holidays, is I shaved off the beard. I've had the massive man beard going on for almost two plus years now. And that was all part of it. I said, you know what, time to change, time to switch gears, change things up. So I'm back to just the goatee. Everyone says I look 15 years younger. I'm like, oh, all right, that kind of thing. I am more aerodynamic. I do cut through the air more efficiently. I will admit that. So it's nice to make those big changes overall, right? And it's nice to switch gears and get excited about something again. And even though it's still in the realm of training, it's still in the realm of bodybuilding and weightlifting and stuff, right? Even within that, you can make changes to keep you from getting stale, to keep it fresh, and to keep it motivating, right? And it makes a big difference. Even my wife noticed in the last 2 weeks, especially, my energy level has definitely skyrocketed. I just feel better. Fuck, the other day I actually shoveled the driveway. In Canada, we have snow, so we have to shovel the driveway. And the crazy part is when I got out of the car, I wanted to. I'm like, oh, let's get this done. Normally, I wait for my kids to come home and make them do it and stuff, right? They're teenagers. So that's always a good sign, right? A little more mojo, a little more spring in the old step, that kind of thing, right? And again, eating better, moving consistently, right? Training, but making it in such a way that the body's able to recover and adapt in a good, timely process. It's working. So I'm pretty pumped about it. So I'm really excited to see where this goes. It's funny, I had a conversation with one of my members, and we were talking about that. And the last time I did this big weight loss challenge was actually when I started Hostile almost 8 years ago. And I went from a really sloppy 390. This 392, I was holding a lot more muscle because of the powerlifting and stuff. I looked like I was 350, not 390. Whereas back when I started Hostile, at 390, I looked like I was 400, right? It was a sloppier version of it. And that's how I got into things. And I started with the kettlebells and the body weight, and we built Hostile, and all that stuff sort of came to fruition that year. And that year, I went down to 290 pounds. And what I was telling one of my members is that the weird part about that 290 is I felt tiny. And that's why I said, I'm wondering what that's going to be like this time. Because, it sounds crazy to feel small at 290 pounds, but when you're used to having a certain amount of just weight on you and size and circumference, and you drop that, by 25, 30%, which is pretty drastic, you're going to feel different overall. And that's the one thing that did bug me a little bit about being 290. Now, listen, I moved better. I felt better. I could run 5K. I was a different man for sure. But I felt small and I felt weaker. So my goal with the bodybuilding on this one is I want to get down to 275. I really want to bring it down. 275, 260 within the year. But I want to be a strong 260, 275. I don't want to feel small compared to the last time. And I think by focusing on the bodybuilding and holding more muscle mass, that should have a different effect. And either way, we're going to find out, right? It's part of the journey. We're going to see what's going to happen and stuff. It's already, I'm jumping into jeans I haven't fit into a long time, which is kind of cool. And it's the same for all of us. When we want to make changes, right? We work hard and we have to put faith in the process as long as we have a good process. But when we see the results happening and feel the results happening, it's pretty damn motivating. And it affects everybody around us, right? When things start happening in a positive manner for you in your life, everybody around you is going to feel that influence. Just like if you're being a fucking grumpy bear because you're miserable, you're tired, you're broken mentally, physically, well, that affects the circle around you as well too, right? So at the end of the day, what we do and how we carry ourselves really affects, our lives and our destiny, our environment, all those things, right? Success comes from being successful. So the key is start creating small successes on a day-to-day basis. Get up on time, make your bed, right? Put the dishes away in the dishwasher. Those little things are small successes and they build onto the bigger successes. We dream and we wait to the point that we're so frustrated that we want to make so sudden and huge changes. The problem is it's foreign and it's difficult and it's uncomfortable and we're not used to it. We're not prepared for it. So start with some small stuff. Move things to the next level. sit there and say, listen, what can I start doing today that I haven't been doing that I can fit in right now? So maybe it's a 10-minute walk. Maybe it's a 15-minute walk. Maybe it's a 10-minute read of a book. Whatever it is, the mental, the physical, they're all tied in together. So at the end of the day, go for those small victories and then build on bigger victories from there and build that momentum. So I'm pretty pumped. You can tell actually by my voice that I am pretty pumped about it overall. And I'm looking forward to see where it's going to go. I've always said if I ever get abs, I'll never wear a shirt again. It'll be really weird in church, but I'm like, hey, I got abs. What can I do? You know what I mean? But like I said, it's been pretty cool. Good start so far. Again, another thing I like doing is I'm telling the whole fucking world what I'm doing. So this huge social contract. So everyone's going to be, checking in to see how you're doing. The people that like you are going to want to encourage you and see how you're doing. The people that don't like you are going to want to check in to see if you're fucking up so they can point that out. So that gives you a little bit of peer pressure to keep moving forward, right? But again, listen to your gut. If it's time for a change, make that change. Guys, that's all I have to say on that for now. Head on over to iTunes. Leave us a 5-star review, rating. Positive words are always nice. Head on over to hostilegear.com where you can use the code word Silverback and get 20% off your bodybuilding hoodies. And as always, guys, work hard, motherfuckers. And I'll talk to you guys later. Hey guys, Kurt Haas here from the Silverback Blueprint. Listen, if you guys are looking to get a jump start on some change and really get things going, but you're feeling stuck and you just need that little push, I want you guys to head over to silverbackblueprint.com. I've got a cool 3-video series that we just put up there, and it's geared to help you within the next 7 days lose 10 pounds, sleep better, and think clearer. Just the right thing to give you that right catalyst to get started. So head on over to silverbackblueprint.com. Sign up for there. You're going to get 3 cool videos covering 3 topics that if you follow are going to make a big difference. Work hard, motherfuckers, and I'll talk to you guys later.